What's up? What's up? What's up, YouTube? What's going on this Sunday early afternoon? Wanted to do this stream. Come at you guys and kind of save my evening cheating on the sundown stream. But come on in. Want to wait for everybody to come in and join us. Got a lot to talk about today. More in the form of questions, you know. But before we get started, it's going to become a new tradition here on all the affiliated pages and channels where we say any audio that you hear today is fair use and protected under the Fair Use Act. This is nothing but commentary. And that's pretty much it, you know, for critique and examination. That's why I'm not screen sharing most of this stuff, so I won't have to worry about any copyright infringements and things of that nature. And we're just going to get it in on a little conversation. But today we want to know, video I came across this morning, courtesy of Quad Marley. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. You can find it in my homepage. You should be able to. Yes. I've never known this person star in this whole Hassan Campbell, African Bambaataa debacle. Can't forget Ron Savage, I guess, from what I'm learning from this whole thing, because I'm really just now getting into it. And the couple little videos I've seen, it's going to be hard getting to the bottom of things, you know. But listening to different people's perspective, different people's opinions, and not just purring it up, you know what I'm saying, for views. I understand that some people, you know, respect Israel Doctrine's stance on the whole pedophilia, so-called attacks that he does and bringing down that or whatever. I, for one, am still under the mind that Israel Doctrine is an opportunist who will say and do anything at any point to upgrade his YouTube platform career, because that's what these dudes really want. That's all they really want. They all got dreams of being called by NBC or somebody, MTV, saying, you know what, your platform is so awesome, I want to contribute money to it and help build it up. So, in my opinion, that's where he comes from, and that's just my opinion on it. I don't think he's sincere. He gives two shits about none of that. Just the person himself looking at him. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, so please don't anyone try to hold, you know, Izzy Doctrine, excuse me, to that standard. Now, the star dude, I was just trying to figure out what was his position in all this. What up, Wax? What up, everybody? Darren, CCC, Salima, Rising Star, etc. Seeing what his whole position was and all of this. So I'm just going to begin right now by playing audio for you guys.
Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine School Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Lambert, and you have now entered into our hangout. Welcome.
Welcome.
People, a very disturbing trend is taking place. A very disturbing trend is taking place. Y'all see the title. Y'all see the title. Need I say more?
I'm going to have to say it because it's not like you guys can see the title. But the title says, Israel Doctrine, more dead threats for per what happened to that boy 2013. Yes, I'll read again. The title of the video is More Dead Threats. I guess the threats are dead, or either he meant death. More dead threats. Spell check, man. For per what happened to that boy.
Need I say more? Yes, I need to say more. So let's just deal with the title right quick. Right? More death threats for hashtag what happened to that boy.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
More death threats, people. And they coming from people left and right.
Or right and left.
It's like they're trying to subliminally sneak it in. They just don't want to come out and say it, but then it's damn near like they basically boldly come out and say it, and they trying to scare me again. They're scare tactics. They're trying to intimidate me.
They're trying to scare you again.
Asking what happened to that boy.
That means they scared you once. Let me shut up.
You can be dead over this if he's not dead over this. You can be murdered over this if he's not.
I want to hear that again, guys.
Need I say more? Yes, I need to say more. So
they got this nigga shook up right now.
Let's just deal with the title right quick. Right? More death threats for hashtag what happened to that boy 2013. More death threats, people. And they coming from people left and right. It's like they're trying to subliminally sneak it in. They just don't want to come out and say it, but then it's damn near like they basically boldly come out and say it, and they trying to scare me again. They're scare tactics. They're trying to intimidate me. For asking what happened to that boy. Saying, you can be dead over this if he's not dead over this. You can be murdered over this if he's not murdered over this. This is a shame, people. People trying to cover up a pedophile ring. They trying to protect the Zulu interests, Africa Bambaataa interests, and whatever interest they have in it. Yada, yada, yada. First, the Africa Bambaataa debacle. Holy shit, is it embarrassing? It's fucking embarrassing what's going on right now. People on YouTube have turned this into some type of self-promotion for fucking whatever personal gain. It's not about you fucking idiots. It's not. With the exception of Hassan Campbell, aka Poppy, who does have a legitimate gripe. The rest of you guys, you're weirdos. You're weirdos. You're confusing the story. You're now talking about who said what, yada, yada, yada. First, you know, I have never taken the time to try and break down the origins of the Africa Bambaataa debacle because I didn't.
And I haven't either. Just to cut off right there. I have never taken the time to try to break down the origins, you know, of this whole. They try to intimidate him. I heard on D Prince, he says that they're trying to, as his words, they're trying to scare him again, which means there had been one point where he was scared, and they're trying to do that again. I don't know what that was or what was said to Israel Doctrine as far as other than what he just said on the audio. He's saying that people threatened him and this, that, and you know, third. But I had never went to uncover this whole Africa Bambaataa debacle, this whole situation. Like I said, I don't really do the pedophilia videos and shit like that. So like it's kind of because that shit disgusts me to even think about it. And so I really don't be wanting to touch that shit. Like in hearing some of the things that I've heard offhand, you know what I'm saying, from let's say Hassan Campbell at one point, allegedly Campbell, well, Hassan Campbell, we're going to try to stay focused today. Hassan Campbell came out in one clip, said how African Bambaataa was an animal in the bedroom. Like, those things, just like, that's still in my head because it's disgusting. That disgusts me. I don't want to hear shit like that. And I'm pretty sure if I continue going down this road of uncovering pedophilia, I'm going to come up to some sort of homosexual acts. And the little bit that I have uncovered, that's where it leads to. It seems like Africa Bambaataa has a fetish for young dudes. It seems like Poppy is probably getting older. So now he's no longer Poppy. He's just Hassan Campbell, a guy that Bambaataa pretty much no longer needs anymore. His little Poppy is gone. He's older now. That's just my spin on it from the little bit of information I have. But what we're going to talk about today is what you just heard the brother speak on, about who is really invested in this, who really heard what first, why are people out trying to claim this whole situation as their narrative, as though they have been molested by Africa Bambaataa. Even the people who have been molested by Bambaataa cannot claim this as their narrative, according to certain YouTubers. Anyone else who wants to speak on this situation is scolded and attacked by Israel Doctrine. So I want to know, is this right here something that was going on between the brother Star and Israel Doctrine? Is Star talking about Israel Doctrine right here? Because it sounds as though he is.
I think that it was necessary. I didn't think that grown men would one day try and make that a focal point. But it's not about you. Motherfuck who wrote what first. Motherfuck who wrote what first. It's about black and Hispanic babies because allegedly Bambaataa had a thing for young Spanish boys, allegedly. It's about closure and therapy for those who were violated. How the fuck are you idiots arguing on YouTube talking about so-and-so threatened me? Who gives a shit? Hopefully you'll get out some guns and shoot it out. Hopefully.
Now, I want to say right here before we continue that I hope you brothers do not get out guns. As you heard, Israel Doctrine did claim he was being threatened. I don't want to see anyone bring out pistols and start shooting at each other over something that, for real, doesn't even concern Israel Doctrine to a degree. You know, like, if he's making a video on it and, you know, bringing light and attention, I think he's pretty much done all he can do. Like, he can do another live stream, another 10 live streams for the next 10 days, and he's not going to bring any more attention on this situation than he's already brought. So I don't think that anyone needs to push this out any further, you know, especially when it starts to get to this point. But here at Shame TV, which is affiliated with Derek Jones Talks Live, we go for ostracizing you. We go for the world knowing who and what you are, somewhat of a scarlet letter approach, so that we don't have to do anything to you once we know where you are. Once we know who and what you are, you can no longer blend in. You know, once it's uncovered that, once it's uncovered that Bambaataa is indeed and factually a pedophile, he's been doing this for years to different boys, different groups of men, whether it be black men, Latino men, whatever, then he's getting ostracized. It's known that he can no longer blend in and be man about the community, Bambaataa, all this stuff like that.
So we can get rid of you and get back to business. The business of scandal in the fucking projects. That's the business, remember? Not about you. Who said what about smacking you, shooting you, killing you? Who gives a fuck about you? I don't. I sent Sonetta, peace to Sonetta. I sent him an email on December the 26th, the day after Christmas. I want to read this email to you folks because I'm sure he didn't read it. I'm sure he didn't read it on his show. And I sent him via text, feel free to read this email to your audience. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to disrespect people because that's not what this is about. Here's the email. Peace, Sonetta. We've spoken before about this matter, and I thought I made it clear that I'm not interested in being a part of misinformation relating to the Bambaataa story. At this point, it almost seems like a joke to gain YouTube views and with no real agenda. For the record, Khalil Amani reached out to me after allhiphop.com posted a story on April the 17th, 2003 about comments I made relating to Bambaataa getting stabbed. Note, when Amani and I did speak, I told him I was not aware of his rumored writings, but I wished him well. I actually recorded the conversation with Amani, file saved, because at the time I suspected him to be a Zulu Nation member trying to make peace. I was actually informed of Bambaataa getting stabbed 3 days prior to that article from a very famous New York rapper while having dinner at Sylvia's restaurant. I'll come back to that shortly, guys. Years later, as we all know, Ronald Savage came to star.
This is Star
because
speaking.
No one gave a fuck.
This is Star speaking. Okay? Just so it's clear to the chat and everybody, this is Star speaking. I guess of Star in the Morning. So this is him speaking about the Africa Bambaataa situation. Also, again, you heard him detailing, you know, what was really going on YouTube versus what may have really been going on in reality, how you have so many different narratives, how, which he's about to get into now, the brother Ron Savage, who wasn't even initially a part of anything. You know what I'm saying? Absolute. And again, this is fair use audio that I'm taking from the public airways. We're using it for critique and maybe criticism and just overall educational purposes.
About his story / book, nor would they interview him. During the peak of the Bambaataa scandal, I even called Bambaataa's lawyer, Charles Tucker Jr., and barked on him and told him to send any and all lawsuits directly to me and stop faking moves in the media. Lastly, when and if the urban community actually does decide to do something about Africa Bambaataa instead of bickering about who did what first, let me know so I can post the 2 other unreleased interviews.
Now, I'm not aware of anyone who was privy to that information. I'm not aware of this brother actually saying this prior to him saying it now. Because that's interesting. If he has information to bring this situation to head, like, I don't understand what would be the problem of all those who are claiming to be on his side, all those who are claiming to be purring so that they can find out what happened to that boy and what happened to Bambaataa and what really went on. But I would hope that everyone who is portraying themselves out to be that would be all for his idea of getting to the bottom of it. But it doesn't seem that's what it is. That doesn't, it seems that people want to grab hold of this Africa Bambaataa thing and make it their thing. And then that goes back to Israel doctrine, where I say, I personally am of the opinion that that is what he intends to do and what he intended to do when he began talking about it. That it wasn't for the babies who may have been molested. It wasn't for the children who possibly could be going through that now or in the future who encounter Bambaataa. I don't think that's what he's doing it for, but that's just my opinion. I don't know who Star in the Morning is per se, so I don't know. I'm not agreeing with him or disagreeing. You know, I'm just saying that listening to him talk, that makes a lot of sense. You know, like there's a lot of people out here who are more knowledgeable about this situation than we are, than some YouTuber is. Some YouTuber who's not even from where the fuck this shit is happening from. I would be more interested in a personal YouTuber who is actually from the Bronx or Harlem or somewhere in New York doing it, that probably had access to seeing Bambaataa and being around him off camera and things of that nature, rather than just some YouTube personality who you can find jumping in any situation just to create energy and activity to their pages. But we'll continue.
And then I signed Star, and then I said Star's comments via allhiphop.com, 2013. You see, folks, back in 2013, I spoke about Bambaataa getting stabbed. But then I let it go because, you know, people started, you know, hollering at me, yo, Star, that's wrong. Don't do that, Star. Old school niggas.
Now, I wanted to get to that point so we could talk about that real quick. That means this shit has been going on for a very long time as far as people knowing about it. When he say old school niggas, I have no doubt in my mind that Sonetta is a part of the old school niggas that he's talking about. Because they get real protective over figureheads. They get real protective over symbols. And Bambaataa is a symbol in the community, not only just in his little community, but the world. He's like a hip hop pioneer and recognized for such. So when you start dealing with those things, then people don't want to tear people down because, nah, man, it's going to make the community look bad. It's going to, not him fucking little boys. Nah, that ain't going to make the community look bad. Not you allowing the community, allowing him to fuck little dudes and fuck with young dudes and shit like that. That's not going to make the community look bad. But the community hiding it, that's going to make you look good. Makes no fucking sense. But the question today is this man Star of Star in the Morning dragging Israel Doctrine here? Because of a lot of the things that he's throwing out, there's a lot of things that Israel Doctrine does. But we'll touch on that in a second.
I pulled back. So who gives a fuck who wrote about something first if you didn't do shit? You didn't do shit. None of you. That's the fucking point. Now you're bickering and bitching like half of fags. You didn't do shit. Ronald Savage came to me years later after 2016 because none of you niggas gave a fuck about it. None of you niggas up in Harlem. You fake frontin' ass niggas. The hater who's got no goddamn black babies in the projects. The hater who's an atheist. The hater who doesn't support tribalism. Did you niggas a favor, you bum ass niggas. Now get the fuck off YouTube crying and bitching about who did what first. You did nothing.
If this has been going on, yeah, he sounds really upset right there. That's why I said, man, this sounds like a direct attack on you, Izzy Doctrine. You know? You might have to do a Google Hangout, you know, and address it, you know, call him out, you know. But just for 1 second here, I don't know this guy Star like that, but on that small piece of information that he's given and that he's talking about. I understand that premise, man. Like, this dude came out, apparently, allegedly, this dude came out a long time ago and tried to push his story about Bambaataa. And he's from Harlem. So, Sonetta, that means he been came to you and was telling you about Afrika Bambaataa possibly being a pedophile, about Afrika Bambaataa engaging in homosexual pedophilia acts with teenage boys, basically. Because he has the money and the status to woo these young dudes that first are attracted to him for music purposes and things like that, or just mentorship. But then you have a nigga that's taking advantage of that, allegedly, and molesting these dudes. But focusing on this dude, Ron Savage, this guy's an interesting character because if this is true, what the brother is saying, he was pushing out his narrative long before Hassan allegedly Campbell became famous for the supposed Bambaataa pedophilia acts. So it couldn't have been the world famous.
You can be dead over this if he's not dead over this. You can be murdered over this if he's not murdered over this. This is a shame, people. People trying to cover up,
trying to steal my shit.
Ring. They trying to protect the Zulu interests, Afrika Bambaataa interests, and whatever interest they have in it. This is disturbing, people. This is disturbing. I don't know what to say. Y'all tell me. I'm gonna play some audio. I'm gonna talk. Normally I don't listen and deal with this stuff, but you know what I'm saying? I told y'all that's a day or two ago that at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? These guys are getting the stream. They're getting the stream.
Now, I'm not going to question the validity of his supposed dead threats that he was receiving. He was receiving dead threats. But maybe they're dead threats because they never went anywhere, so their threats were dead. But I wonder if he's receiving this because of what the brother Star was talking about. Are you receiving this hate because, nigga, you running your mouth about shit you don't know what you're talking about? Could that be part of it? A bunch of people angry because you're talking about shit that you don't know about, for real? And it's not even the fact that you don't know about it. You're claiming ownership basically over the whole story, and you're not even a victim. Now, to promote awareness, again, that is something positive, and if that's what your intent is, then that's a noble intent. But you're going to have people out here who are going to defend Bambaataa in this camp no matter what. They are really going to defend it when they realize that you're doing something merely for notoriety and YouTube views and shit, wooers. Because it's one thing to push something that you're passionate about, and eventually even the ones who may have been threatening you will have to come to realize, like, man, maybe this brother's just confused because I know Bambaataa didn't do this shit, but blah, 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 however they may feel. But they'll still see the sincerity in you, like, yo, this person is really passionate about this. This person has a track record of being passionate about these things. But nigga, that's nowhere, that's not in you. That doesn't give them a pass. So let me state that so it can't be stated against me. So I'm doing it right now. 30 minutes into this live stream, I'm stating here right now, that does not absolve them of giving you dead threats, as you said they were giving you.
You fake front ass niggas. The hater who's got no goddamn black babies in the projects. The hater who's an atheist. The hater who doesn't support tribalism. Did you niggas a favor, you bum ass niggas. Now get the fuck off YouTube crying and bitching about who did what first. You did nothing. That's the email I sent to Sondetta. Pardon me, I'm going somewhere else. You know how I get. Shem, you there, my nigga? Yeah. Give me a second. I just want to close this out.
I'm about to do you.
I still have no hatred, no animosity towards anyone. But knock it the fuck off about who did what first. That's not the point. That's not the point. And the very famous rapper who told me about Afrika Bambaataa getting stabbed first. I'm not going to say his name unless he...
Now, before we continue, listen to him. He's saying this whole Bambaataa getting stabbed shit, what leads to the whole what happened to that kid, the kid who stabbed him, because of why he stabbed him, because Bambaataa was allegedly doing this to it, all that whole shit. Okay? Because we were told by somebody that that's their narrative. That's their story. This is their breaking news, groundbreaking shit, you know? Like Google Hangout, you know? But continue. This is him telling how he learned of it, how he was first contacted by the brother Ron Savage, another victim, alleged victim of Bambaataa, etc.
Once his name being said, he's one of the top 10 greatest of all. Well, he's in the group, one of the groups, top 10 greatest of all fucking time. So knock it off talking about this. Somebody wrote about something first. You didn't do shit. Now, let me just say this with regards to someone who I think, and I don't know if this man likes me, dislikes me, hates my guts, I don't know. But if you folks are looking for someone to make some sense out of this whole Afrika Bambaataa tragedy, sad situation, look to a man by the name of Black Dot. Again, Black Dot. I don't know if he and I have met before. I'm sober now. We may have met, I don't remember. But this man has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Black experience. Or you can go to Professor Griff. Salute to Professor Griff. He and I chopped it up about a year and a half ago on the phone, just on some G shit.
Note that he did not say Israel Doctrine. You know, Israel Doctrine, you said you was the first at all of this shit. So this is what leads me to think this dude is dragging you. It's just a question on a Sunday morning or afternoon, early afternoon.
I'm not going to say his name unless he wants his name being said. He's one of the top 10 greatest of all. Oh, well, he's in the group.
That's how he learned of all this Bambaataa
top 10
shit.
greatest of all fucking time.
Not on YouTube.
So knock it off talking about this. Somebody wrote about something first. You didn't do shit. Now, let me just say this with regards to someone who I think, and I don't know if this man likes me, dislikes me, hates my guts, I don't know. But if you folks are looking for someone to make some sense out of this whole Afrika Bambaataa tragedy, sad situation, look to a man by the name of Black Dot. Again, Black Dot. I don't know if he and I have met before. I'm sober now. We may have met, I don't remember. But this man has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Black experience. Or you can go to Professor.
Don't listen and deal with this stuff, but you know what I'm saying? I told y'all that's a day or two ago that at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? These guys are getting the stream. They're getting the stream.
They're getting this stream.
They're getting the stream. They've been a stream before. They've been hunting me for years now. They've been threatening me for years now. Talking about they'll come knock on my door and do all of that. I have them on tape. I have them on recording. I have them on tape. I have them on recording. I done got 300 calls in one day from one or two individuals. You know what I'm saying? The Pale Arab or the RPG Hebrew Israelite. And now some disturbing words that came out of one of their mouths.
Got it. Yeah. The hater who doesn't support tribalism. Did you niggas a favor, you bum ass niggas.
He did us a favor.
Now get the fuck off YouTube crying and bitching about who did what first. You did nothing.
I think he's talking about you, Izzy.
That's the email I sent to Sandetta. The sad situation. Look to a man by the name of Black Dot. Again, Black Dot. I don't know if he and I have met before. I'm sober now. We may have met, I don't remember. But this man has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Black experience. Or you can go to Professor Griff. Salute to Professor Griff. He and I chopped it up about a year and a half ago on the phone, just on some G shit. But these are the men that you should look to for any type of guidance and understanding with regards to the Africa Bambaataa tragedy. It's a fucking tragedy. And if you know Black Dot, tell him that the hater showed him the ultimate respect tonight. I would appreciate that. Or Professor Griff, I mean, I can call Griff, but I would prefer that you guys reach out to him and say, hey, man, Star, said your name in a very respectful manner. Now, again, I'll do an update about a month or so with regards to Africa Bambaataa, you know, allegedly still gripping tools in the projects.
That's a little too much for me, but that's allegedly. So I'll go to you guys in the chat. What do you think? Do you think this guy could be referring to Israel doctrine right here, mainly? He was the main one pushing, the main one, as he says, focusing on it. I'm not sure because I just know that I wasn't. But I heard Tommy Sotomayor was and a whole lot of other people were. So I don't understand how he figures he was the only one. And do you believe that he's actually receiving death threats from his, you know, charitable work of uncovering the Bambaataa, what happened to that boy scandal and things of that nature? Arkansas or Chicago. I don't know where he's from. I'm not even sure. Even if I knew where, you know what I mean, Israel Doctrine was from, I wouldn't be telling nobody. I don't want to see anybody hurt from all this YouTube shit, man. It's just like at the end of the day, man, it's just YouTube talking, just giving your opinion and your take. And when you see bullshit, calling it. When you don't see it, you know, giving it respect, the truth where it's being told or whatever. So that's what you try to do. But just from the audio, I feel that he has talking to Israel Doctrine. Israel Doctrine has been the one clamoring that he's been the first one to do it. I have not heard anyone talking about that. I've never heard anyone other than him on YouTube claiming to be the first one to be talking about like pretty much anything. Like that's his mantra. And so if this man is having conversations in 2012, 2013 with people about this shit, you know, you weren't talking about it then. He has to be talking about you. If this man is being revealed, having information revealed to him in private conversations and meetings, you know, you weren't privy to this shit. So he has to be talking about you. And in a sense, I agree with him. Like, yo, man, you don't know nothing that no one else knows, because everything you know off YouTube. And then, so whatever else you may get small bits of information here and there, but most of that shit, dog, you're getting that shit off of blogs, you're getting that shit off of YouTube. So in a sense, he's right. You should let somebody who should be talking about it now talk about it. Now making a noise about, hey, why hasn't Professor Griff come out and spoken more about this? And I don't mean just now, I'm talking about before. He should have been talking about this shit. If we should go to him for information, who is Black Dot, and has he been throwing out information before about this situation and letting everybody know what's going on and who Bambaataa really is and isn't, etc.? All these are questions that will be answered now that, you know, Israel Doctrine wanted me to help him on this narrative. So I'm going to help you, Israel Doctrine. And I'm going to make it my narrative. And we're going to begin with who's really sincere about the narrative before we even start moving forward. So it's like, to find out information, am I getting it from a fuck nigga who's just trying to build his page, like bullshit that Kev got caught doing in the audio that was on Shane TV too, on the live stream yesterday that you can go in here. Anyway, or are you sincere about this shit? Are you really trying to push something forward? Are you really trying to get something popping as far as getting the message out there and then letting real people who are involved, who actually, like you were saying, have a leg in the situation, have a role to play? Like, these people who actually alleged to be victims is no more alleged now, nigga. You said that you were a victim. So therefore, you can be held to that. It's all over the place. Nobody has to fucking go look for it. It'll pop up on your fucking timeline. So you'll be held to that standard as far as anything that moves forward legally. We don't have to, it should not be a YouTube personality attached to that shit. So we're going to begin this whole Hassan Campbell, Africa Bambaataa narrative from that vantage point by eliminating motherfuckers who are just jumping on this shit just to jump on that shit. First off, let's start with you. Because I don't want to have to, when I do engage this shit, which I am now, I don't want to have to be involved with motherfuckers who's just repeating shit and then trying to act like that's their information. I want to go to the source, meaning I want to go to people who actually knew Bambaataa, who've made statements so far. Not fuck-ass YouTube niggas who just trying to fucking grind off of whatever the fuck is popular and popping while acting like that's not what they're doing. Moving on. Give everybody a minute, 60 seconds. I'm not going to mute the mic or anything, but just 60 seconds, you know, a pause for whatever cause you may need. Some people may need to go grab something to drink. Some people may need to grab a lighter. Who knows? So we're going to pause 60 seconds for that cause and prepare you for the upcoming topics while discussing past shows. Yesterday on Shane TV 2, the new page, there was a live stream done. The live stream was uncovering and addressing the whole, does Kev Gills really hate young Pharaoh new narrative. Came across some information that I hadn't had before. and figure that there was no way in hell that Pharaoh could have heard this. It was telling to hear the information, which I'm sure you guys have heard, because it was right around the time, if you realize, especially when he was talking about the stream Pharaoh did with no shirt, which he was so angry about, it seemed. That was around the time that Pharaoh and Sa-Neter had just fallen out. That was around the time that Sa-Neter was basically stalking his nigga's phone, leaving him dirty messages, etc. Calling him out, calling Seti and his mother, you know, we're not going to repeat it here. You know what he said, what they could do for him. So around all this time when people were being shown the real Sa-Neter, which led to what? 90% of us who basically make videos about Sa-Neter now, that's one of the reasons, that's part of the shit that led to us doing that shit. Is when he got caught and exposed doing that shit over a fucking lecture, calling this man PO and all that shit allegedly. Like, these things are things that brought Sa-Neter and the filth that we call Filthy Frank to light. And around this whole time, this is when you began making those videos. Like when we were making videos about, damn, Sa-Neter, that's fucked up. Why the fuck you trying to get this man locked up? Sa-Neter, that's fucked up. Why are you telling people's moms to give you head? Sa-Neter, that's blah, 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 blah. And we were, in regards to young Pharaoh, nigga, you were banging on Pharaoh. You weren't saying no, Sa-Neter. Why would you say such a thing? You weren't saying that. It's not what Kev Gills was saying. You better not make me play what you were saying. One more time. How Kev Gills really feels about young Pharaoh.
Tonight, from the village of Harlem in New York City, the world famous Apollo Theater, where Jimmy Javor and Clinton Jermaine is proud to present It's Showtime at the Apollo.
The man who wants to be a part of it.
And the way they want to get at people and put us in, in jail anyway. Like, that's the one thing, like I said, I don't play that boss shit too much.
This is a video from last night's stream. Kev Gill's real feelings about young Pharaoh. You can go hear it or see it there. But the second part of this show, we're going to leave him alone right now. The second part of the show is the Kanika Jenkins Sweepstakes. Frank and Pappy. I mean, it was, though, just finishing up that point before we move on. Like, yeah, man, like, he was, like, really banging on that nigga hard. And it just so happened to be around the time when Sa-Neter was doing all that shit to Pharaoh. And everybody else stepped in and said, no, you shouldn't be doing that shit. There's no way in hell that you're going to get away with doing that shit. No way in hell. But that's what you were trying to do. Telling motherfuckers the truth, man. This nigga's a fucking fraud, yo. And this dude really hates Pharaoh. So you can see the live stream on Shame TV too. Subscribe if you haven't already to Up and Coming channel.
You ain't shit. Young Pharaoh, you ain't shit. Pharaoh, you can't black power nothing, bro. Everything you teaching is from European white authors and shit, bro. Everything you posting online, bro, is Photoshop, bro. And you don't think we can see that shit? You should have kept that shit local and stayed up in your little gymnasium, bro. Because now I'm gonna kill somebody. Young Pharaoh did the whole commentary with no shirt on. Let you know he's appealing to only these dumb ass black women who sitting up there in his comics talking about, yeah, just y'all take it off. That's who they're appealing to. Black people. Young Pharaoh can't make you no money. Young Pharaoh can't teach you about no business, no real power. Because if you go and Young Pharaoh, somebody will get the shit out of you, bro. They film that shit, be like world star. You remember Young Pharaoh, the big little dude who out here talking flexion on everybody? Somebody gonna eat y'all niggas up because y'all doing too much it is and not enough work. Y'all not holding no lectures that make any more sense than you made 10 years ago. And Young Pharaoh, you have no information that's authentic. And you are naming none of your sources. So you trying to say that.
Mind you, again, before we move on, this is the same time that Sarnetta and the entire House of Consciousness was banging on Young Pharaoh. That's Ankh, Reggie, Shaka, everybody that Sarnetta got to turn on him, to turn on YP, because he didn't want to do the debate and how he was so horrible because he didn't want to sign Sarnetta's contract. What's wrong with him? Something must have been wrong with him. Everybody was turning on him. This is that time when I was making videos about it, when everybody else was making videos like, damn, Sarnetta, what the fuck is going on with you? All that shit like that. We were all doing that shit. This is what he was really saying about Young Pharaoh.
Black women who sitting up there in his comics talking about, yeah, just y'all take it off. That's who they're appealing to. Black people. Young Pharaoh can't make you no money. Young Pharaoh can't teach you about no business, no real power. Because if you go and Young Pharaoh, somebody will get the shit out of you, bro. Film that shit, like world star. You remember Young Pharaoh, the big little dude who out here talking flexion on everybody? Somebody gonna eat y'all niggas up because y'all doing too much it is and not enough work. Y'all not holding no lectures that make any more sense than you made 10 years ago. And Young Pharaoh, you have no information that's authentic. And you are naming none of your sources. So you trying to say that what you're saying is authentic? You came up with this shit by yourself? I hope not. In the chat, shout out my nigga Young Pharaoh. Came with fucking boy. We fucking.
And you can find this video. The link is in the description where you can go and watch this live stream at any moment, at any point that you so choose. Now, moving on. The individual you just heard talking, that flip-flopper, that extraordinaire, was also on a past live stream that we've done focusing on the Kanika Jenkins story. Now, unfortunately, that's still an ongoing story. Every day where you hit on Facebook and all type of social media platforms, well, oh, the case was solved. Oh, the case was not solved. Then the case is like hearing people joke around. It's become just clickbait mania. You know what I mean? It still is. And so you hear different people just capitalizing off of it. It's like I said before about the Israel doctrine thing. It's not that the topic that you're talking about is a bad topic. It's the intent. You know, like so it doesn't. It's like a demon talking about something good for a purpose that's not good, nigga. Like you're just using that shit so that it will get you somewhere else, nigga. That's not gonna be a righteous thing that you do with it, and that you even give a fuck about being righteous. So that's how I feel about that, and that's why I say I don't feel that anyone who's talking about things like that should be a fuck nigga. Now, with this Kanika Jenkins thing, it's been blown out of proportion. You have so many pages that have sprung up to just talk about Kanika Jenkins as a way of boosting their subscribers, as a way of boosting their viewership. And for that reason, and that reason alone, no other reason. None. You have another individual who I hear now is actually charging people to listen to his Kanika Jenkins breakdowns. Now, mind you, you got an unsolved mystery out here of a girl's death. And you have a guru, so to speak, who just so happens to be on YouTube, telling everyone that he has such insight that he needs to charge you for you to listen to his insight. Yes, shameful in the most way. But again, all we're here to do is listen.
He spoke to them and said, you know, somebody's complaining about the noise. One of those guys, he said, was talking to him and assuring him, okay, I'm the host of the room. The second guy, he said, text someone. And he thought that the text was to let them in back into the room. So he goes to the room. He says to the police that he smells marijuana and alcohol.
He's talking about a security guard.
So obviously he knows there are young people there. So the first question that the officer asked him is, if you smell marijuana and alcohol, did you report it? He said no. I'm going to show you the report. All right? He said no. So this is his report. All right? This is his report. All right? All right? So when asked if he had received any calls for noise complaints, Blank stated that between 2 and 2:30, all right, September 9th, September 9th, 2017, he received a noise complaint called via radio from the desk. I asked him if anyone went with him. He stated that he responded to room 926 alone. He continued that when he exited the elevator, there were 2 black male subjects in their early to mid-20s on their cell phones. He told them that the front desk received complaints that they were being too loud. One of the males stated he was responsible for the room. He recalled that one of the men texted someone in the room to open the door. When the door to the room 926 opened, a black female subject wearing big glasses opened the door. That's Irene. He continued that there was another black male in his early 20s that was standing behind her. He stated that he didn't enter the room. At the door, he could smell marijuana smoke and could also smell alcoholic beverages. Now ask yourself a question. What security guard who is of another nationality is going to allow black children under the age of 21 and smoking marijuana to get away with what they're getting away with? He then asked if he asked the group to refrain from smoking. This is the officer asking the security guard. Did you ask him to refrain from smoking? He stated that he did not. He did not. One of the males.
Now I want you to pay attention how he's delivering this. How he's delivering this shit like this is some smoking gun. But we'll continue.
Subject stated to him that old people call the police. Now, I'm gonna keep reading. But peak game. So you can come to some conclusions about this, all right? If he smelled marijuana smoke at the door and he didn't call the police,
right,
you could say, oh, he's just a cool dude. But he's telling the police that he smelled marijuana smoke. He didn't have to tell the police that. He didn't have to tell the police wouldn't have known. If he could have said, you know, there were some children there.
Now, whether the police knew or not afterwards was of no consequence to anything, correct? Right. This is what I mean by Kanika Jenkins sweepstakes. This nigga is talking about absolutely nothing. He's reading a fucking report that the police took that 400 other fucking YouTube pages put out already. He's leading you to some foreign security guard who smelled marijuana at a party at a hotel. You want to know why he didn't call the police, dumbass? Because he's a security guard at a fucking hotel that's popular and popping. Do you know how often he fucking smells marijuana? Do you know how often the police would be in the fucking hotel? They'd be in the hotel so much that the hotel would probably just have to shut down for lack of business. This is the shit that I'm talking about. But he's leading you this whole, see, he's got a special narrative. All the other guys are focused on the brother. Then you got 30 other pages who are focused on the mother. Then you got 22 other pages who just talking about anything that somebody put in their chat. So he's got to be special. Not only is he going to be special, he's going to separate himself from the pack by doing something that's different from the pack. He's going to motherfucking charge you to come listen to his take on the Kanika Jenkins killers search, hunt, whatever. Listen to this lunacy. This nigga read a whole bunch of nothing because he has a whole bunch of nothing. The reason why he has nothing, first off, nigga, because you're not even a detective on the ground to be able to do anything. All you're doing is reading old reports, not knowing whether the reports were fucking doctored or not. Done up in a way so that we have the public thinking whatever the fuck we want to have the public thinking, like they do everything else. But that's not what we're talking about specifically right here, Ali Muhammad. What we're talking about specifically is the fact that you're actually charging niggas to come to your fucking page to hear you divulge information. How come you not banging down the doors of the detectives telling them no, wait, I, Ali Muhammad, have the smoking gun? You guys are looking at this all wrong. Why aren't any of the detectives saying, hey, what do you got, Johnson? Got nothing. Damn it. Smith, what do you have? Captain, I have nothing. Damn it. Somebody get Ali Muhammad on the phone. See what Ali's got cracking over there. He's actually charging people $19.99 for his information. It must be viable. Nobody's fucking, the police aren't banging down your door trying to find out, let's see what Ali's got on this, what he's got on his wall. Skype us, Ali, so you can put us up on your black wall and see what you got. He's pulling her fucking name up, man. Peace, peace. Pulling that girl's name up, throwing that shit in the top title of their fucking videos so that they can get views. It's proof in the pudding if you watch some of these pages. If you look at some of these pages and look how they're doing and look how they were doing, and then they just started going for him, Kanika Jenkins again, and then they get a little bit of traction going again. Please do not think that that shit is not intentional. Please do not think that, oh, they really, no, they don't give a fuck. And that's why I'm here, to merely point out that they don't give a fuck. If you want to continue listening, Go ahead and listen. All I'm doing is offering you information on the people that you're getting information on. Because one thing that people never want to talk about is who the fuck is watching the watchers. If you got people watching, yo, who's watching the watchers? Who's watching these people? Who's making sure that these people are, in fact, delivering the most honest input that they could possibly do, give to the people? You know, your style doesn't matter. However you want to do it is however you want to do it. But your intent means everything. That's why we played the audio we played earlier. We're over an hour in. I generally stop by now, but we're just going to keep on going. Because we got other topics to talk about.
All right. He dry snitched on himself. He's nervous. And why is he? Another thing that you need to understand is that Irene came to the door. All right. These girls work in that hotel. They know him. He's cool. So that was just the hookup. All right. That was just the hookup.
Now, he says he's cool because the girls knew him.
Blank stated that between 2 and 2:30, all right, September 9th, September 9th, 2017, he received a noise complaint called via radio from the desk. I asked him if anyone went with him. He stated that he responded to room 926 alone. He continued that when he exited the elevator, there were 2 black male subjects in their early to mid-20s on their cell phones. He told them that the front desk received complaints that they were being too loud. One of the males stated he was responsible for the room. He recalled that one of the men texted someone in the room to open the door. When the door to the room 926 opened, a black female subject wearing big glasses opened the door. That's Irene. He continued that there was another black male in his early 20s that was standing behind her. He stated that he didn't enter the room. At the door, he could smell marijuana smoke and could also smell alcoholic beverages. Now ask yourself a question. What security guard who is of another nationality is going to allow black children under the age of 21 and smoking marijuana to get away with what they're getting away with?
Senseless question.
He then asked if he asked the group to refrain from smoking. This is the officer asking the security guard. Did you ask them to refrain from smoking? He stated that he did not. He did not. One of the male subjects stated to him that old people call the police.
He did not because Irene answered the door and saw him, and he saw her, just like you just said.
He didn't have to tell the police wouldn't have known.
They didn't know. That's why
he could have said, you know, there's some children there. All right. He dry snitched on himself. He's nervous. And why is he? Another thing that you need to understand is that Irene came to the door. All right. These girls work in that hotel. They know him. He's cool.
So why would you ask the question whether he was cool or not? Why didn't he tell the police whether were you cool or why were you was of another race? And nigga, then you say that the fucking girl opened the door and Irene was there and he didn't tell the police because he was cool, nigga. He knew Irene. What the fuck are you talking about? These niggas are creating boogeymen out of nowhere. They're creating scenarios, yo, just to fucking charge you money, yo. Just to fucking charge you money. To come to his live stream and talk about Kanika Jenkins about nothing. Keeping it real, about nothing. Ali Muhammad, you are absolutely shameful for that shit. I see why Kanika Kev does it, because he actually can't talk about shit unless he's talking about something. But you can actually pretend, Ali Muhammad. You can talk about other things. You don't have to do this shit. Moving on. Yes, there is a third part of the show, people. First we dealt with, is Star dragging Israel doctrine? I believe he is. Secondly, the Kanika Jenkins sweepstakes continues, Ali Muhammad style. This nigga is allegedly charging people to come to the fucking chat to listen to him talk about Kanika Jenkins. And last, but definitely not least, we have a question for the entire chat, for the entire universe. Is Polight really back? Yes. The rapping me suit is allegedly back. Now, I hope it isn't so. But he already jumped out on the Umar defense train, which was, okay, we all knew that shit was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't a real surprise to nobody. When you heard that he was involved, you already knew what it was going to be about. When they say he's back, apparently ready to cape for Sanetta's $25,000, now $15,000, now possibly not even taking place award show. You knew what time it was. But the question is he really back? That's what we want to know. Is he really back? So going in while we're well into the second hour, we're going to take another 60-second pause and we shall continue.
You want to voice his opinion real quick? Go ahead, Brother Polight, you got the floor. Oh, where we at in conversation? I don't think we're wrong. Oh, well, the deal is, we talking about Dr. Umar Johnson, and do you support him or what's going on with that whole situation? Of course, I'm a support any black man finds himself in that type of position. You know what I'm saying? We talk a lot about white supremacy. I use a different terminology, but nonetheless, I understand what people need to represent. And I just feel like personally, there's a lot of talk about banging on the beast, but what we do better than anything is bang on each other. Shame. Shame. Shame.
And that was Bambaataa in a nutshell. That was his triumphant return, letting it be known that he's here for Umar. He's not going to come out and say it directly why he's here for him, but they got to protect each other. And that's what's going on.
Just called in and he wanna voice his opinion real quick.
One more time.
Go ahead, Brother Polite, you got the floor. Oh, where we at? Where we at in conversation? I don't want to be too far off. Oh, well, the deal is we talking about Dr. Umar Johnson, and do you support him or what's going on with that whole situation?
Remember, he didn't even know where they were in the conversation. That means this is a direct call-in. Always remember, when you're dealing with Polite, thespianism is paramount with this person.
Of course, I'm going to support any black man who finds himself in that type of position. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what type of position is that? What type of position is Umar in? Umar is in a position of being caught red-handed in deception. That's Umar's position in a nutshell. We can talk all day around that shit, but in a nutshell, Umar's position is he's been caught red-handed, claiming he's something he wasn't, claiming he was had the ability to do something he doesn't have the ability to do, etc. Okay? Not to mention other things like missing money. You see why Polite is chafing for him. You see why Polite understands his plight. Missing monies involved. Plans where monies were invested that went nowhere.
We talk a lot about white supremacy. I use a different terminology, but nonetheless, I understand what people mean to represent. And I just feel like personally, there's a lot of talk about banging on the beast, but what we do better than anything is bang on each other.
Now, psychological attacks. Umar, ingrates, jealous haters, like we're all these things. You starting to notice why these people flock together? You start to notice why these people are constantly around each other. Why these people could not be around one another, but when something happens to you, they're not there. But when something happens to one of them, they're right there. This nigga came slithering and slipping out of the woodworks. Because Polite is definitely in the woodworks at this point. He acts like it's because he wants to be. But nigga, please. You love those AdSense checks. Stop it. So, like, yo, this is what's going on. Same old shit. Same old $25,000 / 15 now possibly not happening Apollo Awards show that Kev Gills is so amped on being a part of. Sarnetta said it'll never happen. Embarrassing. How embarrassing. Again, you can hear that audio. The link is in the description. That live stream that was done yesterday on Shame TV 2. Please share, like, comment, and share that video. I'd love to get Pharaoh's take on it. Since I can't, you know, I'm not moving on the other page right now. I'm moving on these two. I'd love to get his take. So Polight is definitely back. Please, people, beware. It's gonna be a slow grind. Okay. The last time he got us, he fucked everybody quick. It was a quick rabbit fuck, and he was out, gone to California, and then gone from there to the woods of Florida. This time, people, it will be a slow jam. Because he's got to ease his way back in, you know? He's got to ease his way back in. So that's what's going to happen. He's going to appeal to the Umar people. Even though Umar called Polight all types of names and fakes and phonies and scam artists and all that. How a scam artist nigga gonna call somebody a scam artist? Umar, you got a nerve. But that's what we're dealing with here, people. The return of Polight. Kanika Jenkins sweepstakes. Ali Muhammad talks about absolutely nothing for 1999. For 1999, you can go to Ali Muhammad and hear absolutely nothing about Kanika Jenkins. Killers, whether they be uncovered or not uncovered. The return of the Nisuit. There has been a return of the Nisuit. Earlier we talked about the flip-flopping nature in the video. You can find the link in the description of Kev Gill's real hate about Young Pharaoh we touched on in the live stream as well.
You ain't shit. Young Pharaoh, you ain't shit. That you know he's appealing to only these dumb-ass black women who sitting up there in his comics talking about, yeah, just y'all keep it, take it off. That's who they're appealing to. Black people, Young Pharaoh can't make you no money. Young Pharaoh can't teach you about no business, no real power. Because if you go and Young Pharaoh, somebody will beat the shit out of you, bro. Film that shit, be like world star. You remember Young Pharaoh, the big little dude who out here talking flexion on everybody? Somebody gonna eat y'all niggas up because y'all doing too much it is and not enough work. Y'all not holding no lectures that make any more sense than you made 10 years ago.
Then we heard.
Tape, I have them on recording. I done got 300 calls in one day from one or two individuals. You know what I'm saying? The Pale Arab or the RPG Hebrew Israelite.
The Africa Bambaataa debacle. Holy
and we
shit,
heard from Star.
It's fucking embarrassing what's going on right now. People on YouTube have turned this into some type of self-promotion for fucking whatever, personal gain. It's not about you fucking idiots. It's not. With the exception of Hassan Campbell, a.k.a. Poppy, who does have a legitimate gripe. The rest of you guys, you're weirdos. You're weirdos. You're confusing the story. You're now talking about who said what, yada, 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 first. You know, I have never taken the time to try and break down the origins of the Africa Bambaataa debacle because I didn't think that it was necessary. I didn't think that grown men would one day try and make that a focal point. But it's not about you. Motherfuck who wrote what first.
And we also touched on this. On our way out the door, Derek Jones Talks Live.
Sonetta. How you think? What is it? Well, hold up. That don't got nothing. Little niggas on.
I like that shit you did that you talking about with that Apollo shit. I really like that. I like that shit you did that you talking about with that Apollo shit.
Hashtag what's up with that audio?
Man, I'm trying to do some shit for Christmas, bro.
Yeah. But see, I'm not doing my shit for Christmas. My shit.
Yes, that is Sarnetta and Kev Gills talking about what they're going to do for Christmas and not going to do for Christmas. This has been Derek Jones Talks Live. Hashtag what up with that audio. On our way out the door. Enjoy your Sunday.
Got filled up already. I think that'll be the right approach to doing something good for the holidays. That'll set the tone.
Now, see, Kev,
and whatever you got coming for the new year. You feel me?
Now, see, Kev, I can tell you're not high right now because you're thinking right. That's how you
high right now. I'm at the smoke down right now. I ain't even been in yet.
But see, that's how you make the moves, man. Fuck them niggas. Keep doing the work and watch how the hate comes. They're going to be hating you because you doing the work. They ain't doing shit. So you hear him on the live stream saying, fuck that, Sound of the TV Awards. But behind the scene, you hear him saying, man, I like that shit you doing. Bringing back that Sound of the TV Awards, man. I like that shit you doing. He love it.